Let's take a deep breath. So Myrtle Fillmore again. Myrtle Fillmore, we've talked about this before, but every time I read more of her work, she just blows me away. I mean, if you're going to talk about deep conviction about God and God consciousness and what is possible, then she's the one to look to. And she really, really was the life of unity, because she was the heart of it. The heart of it. And it's okay. I mean, what Charles did was wonderful. And yes, they were such great counterbalances for each other, because he was really into it scientifically and mentally, and he would think about things and analyze them and go through them. And Myrtle was all right here. All heart, all experience, all feeling, and took that into her life, into the living. So it's one of our unity principles, that it's not just enough to know the truth, we have to live the truth. Or it's just stuff you know, it's just information, stuff you can sit on the shelf and look at it and say, that's pretty, that's impressive, I know that stuff, but you don't know it. You don't know it until you live it, until you bring all those words, all those things that you say you believe into your experience. And Myrtle did that on steroids. And she says it. If you've read her book, Healing Letters, then you know, and I've said this before, she does not mince words, and sometimes they're hard to hear. They are, and she says things, sometimes that just knock me between the eyes. Because she unequivocally says that anything, any lack, anything that we're suffering from, anything that we are having a problem with, it comes from a lack of faith, and you don't have a depth of consciousness about that particular issue, because there is no issue if you are firmly in the mind of Christ. Period. Period. So this thing about the Christ consciousness for Myrtle was everything. It is life. It is life. It is life for her. And it is for us. And it was for Jesus, as she's talking about in that portion of that letter. Jesus knew, and maybe we always have to talk about Jesus and what Jesus knew, because it was the core of his teaching. His teaching was more what he did than what he said. And if we pay attention to the stories and look behind some of the words, a lot of things are just things about him, because he didn't speak that much, or at least, we don't have those words back then, and the people who wrote about him were writing about him far after the time he lived. So nobody really knows what the words are. We just have the examples, and we know that there were miracles, and we know that there were the way that he walked, and the things that he did, and the life that he lived. And so that's all there is to pay attention to. And we totally miss the mark if we just put him on a pedestal and worship there at the foot of the pedestal, again, impressed with what we know and impressed with what we see, and we don't live that, and we don't take from that and run with it. Just like Myrtle, Jesus always just knew, like it says in that letter, where he came from and what that source was. And that source was always God consciousness. And he stayed in that. Everything he did, everything he executed, every single miracle came from that first. Because it could come from nowhere else. It could come from nowhere else. And so when you're reading and you read that he looked up, he was going into God consciousness. He was invoking that. He knew that he had to go there first because that was first cause of any miracle, anything he wanted to execute. He knew he had to go there first before any execution. How often do we look up when confronted with something? And maybe something physically happens when we just raise our heads, when we just lift our chin a little bit. There's probably some chemical that's released in the body when we do that. Yes, thank you. And we look up, simply look up, and be in that space. We don't have to beg, we don't have to plead, we don't have to have nice words. We don't have to have not nice words. Because some of us think we're not so articulate and that we don't have the pretty words to say or we don't have the right affirmation to say. There's really nothing to say. All there is to assume what you know, assume first cause, assume source as your source, because it is. That's what we believe. That's what we say we believe. And pull from source. Pull from source. And stay there. So I'm reminding myself as I go through my week, and I hit up against a brick wall, or what feels like a brick wall, or I start to spiral down, I'm training myself to look up. And just be there in that space, in that God space, which is always our space, but if we're got the blinders on, we got our eyes shut, and all we're doing is thinking about about the brick wall, then we forget that we can simply let go and look up and invoke God consciousness and God power and God strength, and then move forward. So it's training. Myrtle says throughout her book, throughout those letters, you have to work at this. And sometimes it's not easy. I sat down to meditate this morning. I just finished working out, and I sit down, and I said, okay, I'm ready for my quiet time. 2 minutes into my quiet time, I'm spiraling down about something. I didn't get comfortable. And I'm already spiraling down about all the terrible things that could happen in the next couple of months with something. And it took me about 30 seconds before I thought, okay, how did this happen? Chair's not even warm. How'd this happen? I was just feeling good. I just had my workout. I'm feeling good. I had a sense of accomplishment, sat down, and my brain started going. And I stopped myself in that moment. I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I could have sat there and still spiraled. But I said, no, I don't want to spiral. I'm trying to train myself not to spiral down like that. And so I had to switch gears mid-thought. And so I put on a song that I like. I put on a song I like, and as soon as I heard those first couple of notes, I started to spiral back up again. And then it got better from there. I had no stimulus that caused me to spiral down. Nothing. But it happens, and we got to be aware that sometimes that's what our mind does to us. I don't know, maybe it was something I was running from the last couple of days. I have no idea. Maybe it was attached to a dream I had last night. I don't know, but it happened anyway, and what I know is now that's unacceptable for me. I don't want to spiral down anymore. I don't. It saps my energy, then I got to do all this work to bring it back up. Yeah, I'm tired. I don't want to go there. And so this brain of mine that likes to fabricate all kinds of terrible things that could happen, I've got to train it. I've got to train it to look up. I have to tell it, stop. We're not doing this. We, some of the we, the royal we, me, mind, body, spirit, and heart. And literally, I'm sitting in that chair saying, we're not doing this. Thank God there are no cameras in my house. Because I would not be here right now. They would have carted me off. Because I was having quite the conversation with my mind. But how else are we going to train it? How else are you going to train it? And so, yes, sometimes spiritually, I'm a 3-year-old, and I have to tell my 3-year-old spirit, get with it, we don't do this. I don't want this anymore. I want to live a life of vitality, of fulfillment, of joy and love and peace. I want overflowing abundance. I want some freedom in my life. I got a lot of things to do. I got a lot of things I'm doing now. There's more stuff coming up. I can't do it if I'm spiraling down. I'm being called to more on a daily basis. Even the stuff I thought I had a handle on and that was running pretty well, all of a sudden now something has shifted in a couple of areas, and now I got to show up as more of me, more of my divine self, with some of the same things I've been doing for the last couple of months. What's up with that? I was just cruising. Cruising. And then circumstances shifted. I'm like, oh no. And then I get over it and I say, okay, yes, here we are. Here are the circumstances. I said I was going to do this thing. Stuff has shifted that I had no control over. And life happens like that. You're running along, you're doing things, and suddenly something shifts, something you can't change, and then you decide, how am I going to do this? Am I going to limp along and complain about this for the next month or so? Or however long it takes. It might not be a month. Maybe this is the way it is now. Maybe it has shifted completely. And I got to decide what to do. I don't want to limp along in life. Physically or spiritually. I don't. Yeah. So more is required. And I know I have more if I stay in God consciousness. If I stay there, if I stay in Christ consciousness, knowing that that is my consciousness too, then I can not only do this, I can knock it out of the freaking park. And know that. And know that I can knock it out of the park. And know that every single thing that I need in order to do what I'm called to do, all the things that I said I wasn't going to have as I was spiraling down for 30 seconds, that I can have a new picture of things, like Glenna read to us. We get to broadcast what we want and have a picture of it, create the picture, and stay there in God consciousness. Yeah, produce it. Produce what you want. That's in our unity principles, that you can create your experience of life. We can't control the stuff that rolls towards us most of the time. I mean, sometimes we can. Sometimes we do things. Sometimes we run it in the ditch on our own, and we create stuff that we now have to fix. But some stuff just comes out of the blue. It just heads down our path like one of those big steamrollers threatening to roll over us. And we get to say, no, I'm not doing that. So my new mantra in life is ease and grace. Ease and grace. Whatever's coming down that pike, I handle it with ease and grace. I don't know what it is, but ease and grace. Ease and grace. That's what I want. And I affirm that whatever it takes for this ease and grace, I know I have. Because we are powerful spiritual beings. And what you have affirmed in some way. So we get to affirm something different. I mean, for a time, this is how lazy I can get some days, where I'm thinking an affirmation, and I'm just thinking it because, it takes way too much energy to say it out loud. Yeah, been there. And now, some of you have been there too. Don't even say you don't. So you're just thinking the words, and I might be laying in bed, or maybe it's the middle of the night, and sometimes I just have to say it out loud. I need to say it out loud because this brain isn't just taking, the whispers of my heart. Because this brain of mine, which I'm very proud of, which is very healthy and good, and it's strong and it's sharp, can also be my worst enemy as I'm spiraling down. So sometimes it needs the sound of my voice in order to get in gear. I become my father in that moment. Oh, God. Yeah. I have to speak with a voice of authority to my brain, which wants to spiral down, and affirm something new, and affirm it out loud, and to affirm it with power, and to visualize what I truly want, not the stuff I'm fabricating, all the devastation and terrible and the drama and all that other stuff that I can create when I'm spiraling down, but something new and good and wonderful. And something that's so great that it spurs this emotion in me that brings up happy, celebratory tears. That's where I go. I know I have hit a visualization right when that visualization takes me to tears. That's when I know I've hit it. I don't know what your signal is. I don't know when you've hit the right thing. But you got to figure out what that is. I don't know if you get goosebumps on your arms or whatever, the hair goes up on the back of your neck. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is, or maybe something makes you want to dance around. I don't know. But look for that signal. Look for that signal when you're doing your spiritual work, when you're doing this intense mind activity that Myrtle Fillmore talks about. When you get a feeling from your affirmation, you have hit it. It's got to make you feel something, or else you just got words again, and they're pretty, and they're on the shelf, and you're going to look at them. And you can say them, they'll make no difference to you. They'll put you to sleep. Find something that turns you on. Because I believe, I don't know, it may not be true, but I believe this is what works for me, that God, the experience of God for me is a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. You know, it might be that your chest all of a sudden feels full, or like your heart's going to burst open because you can't contain all the goodness and love that you feel in that moment. It might be that. It might be the tears of joy. It might be that maybe your breath quickens, or you feel warm or something like that. But there's some feeling, I believe, that each of us has that signals that you are now in God consciousness, truly in it. Not just saying you believe it or that it works, but that you're there, that it makes you feel something. And then run with that feeling. And so by the time I finished with my song and had gone into the next one, because I got playlists, because I got to work with this. I got to work with this mind. So I got all kinds of stuff. This one doesn't work. So one says, good vibration. The other one, I have another place that is an even higher vibration. Because sometimes I gotta go to steroids, like Myrtle. Because some days it's harder. And depending on what I'm thinking about, I got more fear about that thing. Or more doubts about it, depending on what it is. And I'm starting to think if you don't have any fears or doubts about something, you just might not be living fully. Fully. That's why I'm always amazed when people have to go, bungee jumping or, what do you call zip lining, skydiving and stuff, because they need a thrill. I got stuff that scares me when I wake up in the morning, stuff I got to do. I don't have to be swinging from a string out in the wilderness. I don't need to zip line. I just got to look at my next thing to do on my list.
That's it. I thought we were going to zip line in Montana.
I'll be watching from the park bench. I think if you're living fully, you're going to feel something. And there's probably something that you're afraid of. Because you got some doubts, because you're reaching for something, going someplace where you've not gone before. And someplace where your mind is starting to say, don't go there, don't do that, that's scary. And that's when we start to spiral down. Don't do that, don't do that. And the brain is supposed to do that. That's a good thing that the brain does that, because it's here to protect us. It's here to keep things predictable. Because the brain knows what to do for the body. When we're out there doing scary things and the body's got to adjust, the brain's got to start thinking about, she's going up, talking in front of people. Oh my gosh, she's going to sing that song now. Oh my God, she's going to hit that note. She wants to hit that note. Don't do it, don't do it. That's what the brain is saying. But my heart is saying, my God consciousness is saying, go sing, baby, go sing. Go sing and sing your heart out. And somewhere you got to say, I'm not listening to this, I'm going to listen to that. But you get to choose which one you listen to, fear, or are you going to listen to God consciousness? Which way are you going? The beautiful thing is, there's the rub, that we have a choice. You can run to fear if you want. It's probably always sitting there waiting for you. Mine's always sitting waiting for me somewhere. Try to stay in God consciousness. And when I get comfortable and when I don't practice that God consciousness, when I am not in meditation, now I have to meditate more often because I'm trying to do some stuff in life that I haven't done before. I got to be in God consciousness. I got to be in there embracing it, feeling it, knowing it, having the experience of it so that every single day I can stay up here vibrating higher. I can't do the stuff I was doing before. That doesn't work. Trying to change some things. That means you might have to change how you do things and how you support yourself spiritually. It's an adventure. That's why I don't have time to zip line. I imagine God is on the zip line. He better be.
You're right. Because, like, for me, I just want to see y'all get on there and scream. But isn't that stupid? Like, if she's screaming, she's scared, you know? But I'm like, I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with us.
Our humanity. We bump into our humanity, which is not a bad thing. Don't denigrate your humanity. It's a wonderful thing. It is. But we are divinely human and humanly divine. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. You just have to realize how much power you have and go get it. Go access it. It's sitting there waiting for you. But you can pretend it doesn't exist your whole life. You can pretend it doesn't exist. Or you can do like Myrtle, do like Jesus, and assert your divinity. And work with this thing. Tell your mind that your consciousness is in charge and train it that way. And every single time it tries to run off on you somewhere you don't want to go, you bring it back. Just like those of you who've raised children, trained children. Obviously, I don't have any. Obviously, I don't have any. You know, and the little ones run off towards trouble, and you go get them and you bring them back. No, come here. Same thing with your mind. Yeah, go get it. You have to train it. You have to raise it. Stay in God consciousness. Find the feeling you get when you're there and memorize that feeling. And when you need it, harness it. Harness it and live from that. Live from that. Let's take this into meditation. So as you take a deep breath, I want you to think about what is that feeling you feel when you are firmly in God consciousness. What's your feeling? Think of a time, and we all have had those moments, where we felt the love of God so strongly it gave us a feeling. Maybe it's when your grandchild said, "I love you." Maybe it's standing with your feet in the ocean, listening to the surf. Maybe it's gardening and smelling that sweet earth, or watching something bloom. Yeah. Maybe it's being here on a Sunday morning, feeling the love all over you. getting hugs from people that love you and support you, who look at you, really see you, and love you. Maybe it's while painting, drawing, playing music. Maybe it's in a moment of prayer or solitude, when all is quiet and your soul is peaceful. And you're in a place of trust and freedom. And you truly know that you are in the midst of the divine, and that divinity is you. Maybe it's watching the sunset or hearing the birds sing at sunrise. Maybe it's the laughter of children. Feeling the warm touch of someone you love. What is that feeling? And can you reproduce that right now? If you're having trouble, pick something that you're truly grateful for. Something that took your breath away. And see if that feeling comes up. Just let yourself be in that feeling. That feeling that all is well. All is good. All is God. This is the feeling we trust. This is the signal that you've hit upon something special. This is the signal that all of life can be this if we stay in God consciousness. Just let yourself relax in it. Let yourself feel safe here. For this is home. That feeling is home. This feeling is home. This feeling is home. This is first cause of all good things. And all things are good things when we stay in God consciousness. So let yourself breathe and relax here. Breathe and relax and say yes and thank you for this feeling, for the experience of God in your mind, your body, your heart, and your spirit. Say yes and thank you. For a power, for the presence of God not only alive in your life, but in everyone's life. And we need only recognize that love and power in each other. We have only to reach out to love, do all things in love, concentrate on love, express all things with love. And there'll never be a need for doubt or fear again. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. Relax. Let go. Trust. Relax. Let go. Trust. We say yes and thank you. Yes and thank you for life and love. And so it is and so it shall be. Amen.